from ScreenJunkies Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is ScreenJunkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Movie Fights. I'm so excited for today's episode. We have three amazing fighters and we have some amazing topics, including what franchise should cross over with Alien, what's the best live-action Disney. They just announced their upcoming slate. We're going to debate which one's the best cool. What will be the best movie of the summer of 2016, and so much more. So let's get straight to it. If you'd like to join the conversation, though, you could do it on hashtag MovieFightsLive. So tune in there if you're watching us on ScreenJunkies Plus, and tell us what you're thinking. In the meanwhile, let's fight. Let's meet our fighters. Let's fight our fighters. Yeah, let's go. That's so close. First up, the co-host of Jedi Alliance and Scott Mance's arch nemesis, John Rocha. Welcome back, John.
Well, thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me back on. This is going to be fun.
Are you going to be as heated without Scott here, you think?
Absolutely. I got the Coke instead of Diet Coke, so I'm ready to throw it
down. All right, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
He's got like a teleprompter here. Look at this. This guy's not taking it. Look at this. Look at this. This is. He's not on the web. I can verify he has notes. Yeah. And he's allowed.
That's right.
allowed? Okay.
He's brought a whole...
He's also
I'm impressed.
juicing.
Oh, yes.
He's juicing. I didn't know caffeine was allowed.
Come on now.
Next to John, making his Movie Fights debut, fans requested him, the host of DLC Podcast, Jeff Cannata. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks.
Very well requested. I'm glad they were hitting you up, and you said, let's do it, and we reached out, and now we're doing it.
Yeah, man.
We did it fast.
We respond to the fans. They beg, and we reciprocate. We understand how to make that happen.
We make it happen. I'm glad you helped us make it happen. Excited for you to be here.
Yeah.
Bring it. This guy's a rowdy one, and so is this guy next to him. Superhero news and our very own Knocking Dead host. It's Hector Navarro.
That's right. Yay, look how good. Remember that thing?
Remember that thing?
Oh, geez.
I'm a big fan of Jeff. Great to meet you, man.
Oh, thanks a lot, man.
This is cool.
Great to
I'm
meet you, too.
a big fan of his stuff, and John's
nice
okay.
to
So
say.
this is great.
Listen,
No one cares about
gamesmanship. Already gamesmanship.
Hector, you watching Thrones?
No, but I'm watching Fear the Walking Dead, and it's bad.
What's so bad?
You guys
It's really
made a good
bad.
call not doing an after show on that.
Well, I think you're doing your own, aren't you?
I am, but you guys made a good call. I was like, are we going to do Fear the Walking Dead? You're like,
I don't even want to watch that show.
Okay.
But you're not watching Game of Thrones?
No, I'm not.
Why?
I'm not.
Because you don't like good things.
Yeah.
True, I don't like, we're going to get into it right now?
No.
Let's do it.
No.
Is that one of the questions?
We can get into it.
I was told to fight people.
Let's save the fight. Before we fight, Dan Murrell needed a quick vacation this week. He's had a lot of work to do, so stepping in his place. Sorry, that was weird looking. Stepping in his place, I'm so happy to have our honest trailer writer, Joe Starr.
Yeah.
Joe on the fact-checking cam.
You gave me a taste of fact-checking, and I wanted another one.
You're back.
Happy to be here.
Oh, wait a
It's
minute.
the internet.
I was
It will
not
be
told our
patrolling the
facts were
internet.
checked.
Facts, yes, he is there. If anything is said wrong,
Lies.
we can ask him for advice, and he'll also be checking out on the hashtag Movie Fights Live if people are chiming in. We'll be doing some polls on there so people can help vote in who's doing the best. All right, guys. Anything to say here? You excited for this?
Let's get it on.
Let's do this.
Now let's do this!
This is where we fight!
Fight!
You know, it's ironic. Hector's
Round
not seen
one.
any of those good movies.
Yeah, I saw Thor. Saw that one.
Saw Thor. A quick plug I forgot to say. We're going to be at Wizard World Philadelphia, June 4th, I believe it is.
Hey.
So look it up if you want to be there. It's a really big lineup there, and we're excited. But Philly,
awesome. That's where I was
my
born.
hometown, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm excited to come back. So make sure you've been warned. More details to come, but I want to make sure all our fans knew about that. Round one. This came in from tweet at that Dan Lewis. The summer movie season is almost upon us,
Yeah.
and Daniel Lewis wanted to know what will be the best summer movie of 2016. Best movie of the summer. Which one's going to be the best? That could be quantified in a million different ways, but you tell me why yours is the best.
Yeah.
And John, we're starting with you. What's going to be the best summer movie?
All right, first, I appreciate Daniel Lewis sending that question in and keeping off the day off his middle name. You're not fooling anybody. I know who that is. So I know you're watching. All right, first, so my choice was Suicide Squad. All right, David Ayer is an up-and-coming, fantastic director. He's directed Fury, End of Watch. He also directed arguably the best Schwarzenegger comeback film, Sabotage. So he wrote the film with John Ostrander, who's done the comic book. I'm already undercutting Hector here with In the Comics. It's already in the comics. He also wrote Dark Blue, Training Day, U-571, all arguably good films. The trailers look fantastic. You have Jared Leto's Joker. You have Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. You have all the characters look like they're being serviced correctly. And the film looks like it's pushing back from Batman vs. Superman. It's doing the right mix of dark themes and humor. The hardcore DC fans are going to come out for it. And the people who want to see a very good film the comic fans, superhero fans, are gonna flock to this thing in mass because they're so disappointed by Batman vs Superman. And so that's what I think is gonna make it get over the top. Now, you've got in the cast Joe Kinnaman from The Killing, Viola Davis, the best Amanda Waller ever created in the history of mankind.
Debatable.
Oh, please. Ben Affleck coming back as Batman, the best Batman that we've seen in quite some time. And I think it's got a great multicultural cast, so that will help a lot with getting it over as one of the best films. You have Karen Fukuhara doing Katana, Jay Hernandez as El Diablo, Killer Croc, played by the guy who played Adebisi, who I can't pronounce his name, Jai Courtney and Margot Robbie taking care of Australia. Plus, you have Andy Horowitz, who produced The Dark Knight, American Hustle, Richard Suckle as a producer, 12 Monkeys TV show, American Hustle, Charles Roven, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Three Kings, Bank Job, American Hustle, and the 12 Monkey TV shows. I don't even know why we're debating this.
Jeff, your turn.
I didn't realize that this is a show where you just read Wikipedia pages.
Yeah. I forgot to do that.
Does knowledge scare you? Does knowledge scare you, Jeff? With a NASA shirt on?
The question was, what is going to be the best movie?
These are the ingredients that make a best movie.
Not what is the most successful movie, not what is the most fun movie, the best, the finest crafted film.
Sure.
I was thinking about Civil War, but I've already seen it, so I felt like that was cheating. Finding Dory is going to be the best movie of the summer. And that is kind of not debatable. Pixar doesn't know how to make bad movies. Okay.
Cars 2.
Maybe the
Cars 3.
dinosaur movie was not
John?
so good.
Let him go. You'll get your chance. Go ahead, Jeff.
Finding Nemo is a movie that's impossible to watch and not cry. It's a beautiful sentiment. It's so well crafted, it's gorgeous. The technology at play with Finding Dory is of a level that Pixar has never put forth before. This is an undersea world that is going to be more vibrant and more beautiful and more amazing. And the characters we love. This sentiment will be absolutely heartbreaking, and it's a movie that will stand the test of time. This is going to be a modern classic. I don't think it's up for debate that Pixar's film this summer will be the best, the finest crafted.
Nicely said. I also haven't seen Captain America Civil War yet. I know that you have, but I also believe that I won the coin toss on that one because Finding Dory was going to be my second choice. But my number one choice
between all three of
is
us.
Captain America, probably Civil War, because I think that this movie is the blockbuster that we have been waiting for months, and especially coming off of, hate to compare, Batman, Superman. I'm going to say what you said yourself, Jeff, about the film. It is a, quote, home run on every level. Another thing you said was...
How dare you call me against me?
Another thing you said
Nice.
was that, quote, Marvel knows how to do it. Listen, this cast is stacked. You've got all of these. You guys are talking about what ifs and who's its and what's its. Okay, they're untested properties. We have coming off of Captain America: Civil War, arguably the best Marvel Studios film. We've got an incredible a team of filmmakers in the Russo brothers, and an awesome cast that is so good. The Russo brothers, Russo. A cast that is so good. A cast of characters that is so good. They got Robert Downey Jr. for this. Are you kidding me? The cast is so good that they couldn't find like an original spot for Spider-Man, one of the biggest characters ever, and they found a way to work him in there so organically that all of from people who haven't seen it, all of the info coming in from people who have seen it are that Spider-Man is handled so perfectly. Black Panther is amazing. Captain America is solid. Iron Man is solid. That there is incredible action set pieces in this. That there is emotion that has been earned over almost 10 years of this incredible filmmaking accomplishment called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is something that pays off, which has so much pressure and so much going against it that all we're hearing across the board from critics and from fans, it is the best.
From France?
From fans in France.
It is the best film ever.
It's so good. I love Captain America. I love it. That it is so fun and so full of heart and emotion, and it is going to be overall the best. And I don't think a movie this summer, no matter how well crafted it's going to be, or no matter how risky and fun and edgy it's going to be, is going to beat Captain America Civil War for overall best movie this summer.
Damn you, Hector! I can't argue with me.
I can. That's right.
I pulled an Anthony Mackie from 8 Mile.
Go ahead, Jeff. Spoke first.
Yeah,
I'm surprised, John. You got in there before you did.
Civil War
How good was it?
is amazing.
Great.
It's the best Spider-Man movie ever made, and it's called Captain America.
I know, that's what he said.
But
It's kind of true.
That already undercuts the movie.
But we are going to have more Avengers films. We're going to have Infinity War in a couple of years, a two-parter that is going to up the ante even farther. And I submit that Marvel will outdo itself, and that Finding Dory will be a film that our kids and their kids' kids are still going to watch, and maybe people will be watching Civil War in the future, but only because they need to watch it to catch up with the storyline where Marvel is now.
Good point.
This is going to be a class. Finding Dory will be a classic.
Actually, it's not going to be. The trailers have not looked good at all. They don't have the best track records with the quality of their sequels. All the Cars sequels.
Other than Toy Story
2, Toy Story 3.
Yeah, but then you've got Monsters University, which really missed the target.
Wasn't as good.
And Toy Story 2 was kind of a bit of a.
Disagree.
And Toy Story 3 and 1 were great.
Amazing.
And Ellen was desperate to be relevant again when she did the first.
Desperate to be relevant
Yeah,
again?
she just lost her TV show and she was a nobody. She was going down. Then I just pay attention to the questions. Pay attention to the things I'm saying there, Jeff.
It's hard.
You're
You're
going to
just
argue.
spouting facts.
Yeah, I know. Facts are tough. She was desperate to be relevant. She was hungry back then. I don't think she's going to be as hungry now. She's comfortable and she's soft now. I don't think we're going to get the same wonderful performance that we got from the first one.
Here's the other thing.
Also,
going off of,
we get the turtles again. We get the turtles again. We get the whale speak again. We get the tank bit again. It just seems like a rehash of the first one.
Of the first 20-year-old film?
Yeah, the first 20-year-old film.
So
it's boring.
There's kids.
So it's going to be boring. You were saying the best film.
It will be the
rehashing
finest
the same
crafted.
thing is never the best thing to do. Ask the people who made Hangovers.
13-year-old movie. It came out in 2003, the original Finding Nemo, but we're not talking about Finding Nemo, we're talking about Finding Dory. The other thing it's got going against it, going off of what John was saying, is that I feel like this movie was just made because of pure force of will from Ellen DeGeneres. She willed it into existence, which is a little bit scary. Now, Pixar is good at creating sequels from great stories. They don't do a sequel unless they have a good story, but this is also Andrew Stanton coming off of the disappointment of John Carter. I love John Carter, but people did not enjoy it, and he retreated from doing other live action, unlike Brad Bird, who went straight from Ghost Protocol to doing Tomorrowland, and was like, well, then I'll go back to the comfortable world of animation. That spooks me a little bit. That scares me.
Also,
I don't think it's to match that amazing masterpiece of Finding Nemo. I don't think it's going to do
also, Bob Peterson is one of the writers on the film, and he's credited with the original concept and story development and story by credit on The Good Dinosaur.
Listen, stop
which is
reading me the
arguably
Wikipedia, John.
the worst
Possibly.
Pixar movie ever made.
You want to know what else?
2.
On your movie, Suicide Squad, we got producer Richard Suckle, a.k.a. Dick Suckle. You know what else he produced?
Whoa.
Scooby-Doo. It was bad. I just said his name. That's his name. That's the guy's name.
Dick. You don't know if they call him Dick. You don't know that's his last name?
Suicide Squad is coming off of Batman v Superman, and that's Warner Brothers saying, here you go, director, we're going to give you the keys to the car, and they give it to the wrong director, arguably, for Batman Superman, Zack Snyder. They may have done the same thing. David Ayer's great, but we don't know yet.
You just said he's great. He's not untested.
But
Fury is great.
Listen, hear me out. They may have given him the keys to Suicide Squad, and it's the wrong guy with the wrong vision. It'll be his movie, but it might be the wrong thing for those characters in that universe. Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing with DC yet. It's untested.
That's not true.
There's reshoots, and he's saying it's not for comedy.
Every
we're
film
getting
does reshoots.
conflicting. Sure, but we're getting conflicting reports coming off of Batman, Superman, all that controversy where Warner Brothers is like, well, make it more like the trailers. Make it more like the trailers. You delivered a very dark and gritty film. Turns out audiences want the opposite, just like your trailer was, which is an amazing trailer, but this movie's not the trailer. We haven't seen it yet.
I'm rooting
Scary.
for Suicide Squad. I want it to be great, but it is by far the biggest question mark of the summer.
So was Guardians of the Galaxy, and what happened with that?
Well, Marvel made it. Marvel made it. That's what happened to that. Marvel made it. That's what happened. Andy, write that down. Marvel made it. Write that down.
Host your own show. Host your own show.
I'm curious if every character needs to have their subtext just tattooed on their forehead.
Oh!
Or is that
Joker.
just for
That's a Joker reference. The Joker. Also, John, I'm surprised because that Joker. Let's just get into the Latino
that Joker
second for a
looks
second.
great.
It does. Let's get into the Latino thing for a second. John, people have been saying that's cultural appropriation. The way that character, who is a white character in the film, played by Jared Leto, is doing things with the tattoos and the teeth, and it's prison culture, and it's Latino prison culture, it's black culture. People are saying that's very offensive.
With that.
No,
because I've seen a lot of white people in prisons. Because I used to go to prisons and do talks with them.
You guys are saying you should be called the Yoker?
He should be the Joker, dude.
The Joker?
Could be the Joker.
Yeah,
I'm just saying with the purple lowrider, with all this stuff. What we've seen, I haven't seen the performance yet, but it seems a little problematic.
I do get to counter you here, right?
Sure.
Okay, I want to counter you. In all the arguments you brought up, none of it are answering the question. You're using other people's words. I'm using facts, but you're using other people's words. You're not telling me why it's the best. You're not telling me about craftsmanship. You're not telling me about the producers. You're not telling me about the directors. You're not telling me about you're not telling me the story. The story. You're not telling me about anything. I told you all that stuff about why the best. And here's the thing. They directed some of the Russo brothers. They're good, but they also did LAX. They also did Animal Practice. They also did some of the worst episodes of Community that you've seen.
Best ones, you would
and Christopher
argue.
Marcus, he's a writer on the film. He wrote all the Lion and the Witch wardrobe films, which are really kind of lame. So there's a possibility this is not going to live up to the hype. And the fact that Jeff here is telling me, well, see, that's kind of a cheat. But Jeff here is telling me it's the best Spider-Man movie.
Sure.
Why is it called Captain America? That undercuts
That's
it
how
a little
badass
bit.
it is. I don't think
think that's
make an
badass.
Avengers movie and a Captain America movie and an Iron
If
Man
I'm
movie.
going
And
to-
by the way, guess what? We're Marvel and we know how to fucking make Spider-Man movies. Okay.
I'm done. I'm done. Jeff sort of gave it to Hector because I was leaning there anyway, and then Jeff really did it. And I have to
sorry.
say they both
Sorry,
got you
man.
because you can't just list Wikipedia articles. They
Doesn't
do call
matter
you
Wikipedia,
out.
this is all
Don't let
IMDb.
this iPad be a crutch and keep
It's
just
not.
listing
John
people.
made some good points.
He
He made
did.
some
I'm
good
not
points.
making fun of him. No, it was close, but it was hard to beat. You got some good stuff in there, Hector, and then Jeff, you really using his own words against him
That
was
was pretty
brilliant.
brilliant.
That's 8 Mile
And
Anthony
then
Mackie, who's the
you
Falcon
got
in
him
Captain
to
America.
change his mind, and when that happens,
mean-
it's a hard thing to beat. So I got to give it to Hector. That was a very fun opening debate. We got plenty more to go.
Let's go.
For the record, I think both of those look
Let's
great.
get it the fuck on.
They all look.
I want
they
them
all
all.
look
I want
great.
them all to be amazing. Yeah.
Yes, agreed. I want them all to be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you started saying the Russo brothers are back because they made LAX, you got to use arguments. It was
Yeah.
fresh. It was a deep cut.
Yeah. I use
It's a deep
Scooby-Doo.
cut.
I use
I
Scooby-Doo.
admire it.
Richard
This
Suckled
isn't
and
movie.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
Come
this
on.
isn't movie patty cakes. Movie
Yeah.
fights.
I love it.
When he was
That's a strong round.
When
That's
he
how you
was
start
in
it.
fourth grade, he got a C in
Yeah.
English.
He picks his
They made
boogers.
Animal
Matters.
Practice. Has anyone actually watched that show?
Which one?
Animal Practice?
Nobody watched it. That's what I'm
Anim-
saying. It
Animal
was
Hospital?
terrible.
I know.
That's why.
All right. Round two. Oh, sorry. I'm going to check with Joe first before I go there. I just completely cut you out, Joe. Joe, how'd that round go? I
Check
just
my
made
facts.
it. I made a drastic call right
Oh,
away.
no worries. A lot of fact-heavy arguments.
Was it actually plagiarism, or did he actually put it in his own words?
Put it in his own words.
All right,
a little
fair
bit. Twitter loved Civil War. They were also really into Jason Bourne as
Yeah,
the best summer
yeah.
movie, and they're
Very
really
tempted.
into a stereotypical Latino Joker. So I think you guys are onto something.
The Joker.
There was a pretty straight round. No facts were improper there, right?
Yeah, no, not really.
Did we put a poll up? Did the fans agree?
Fans ran away with Civil War.
course.
Really, I think the only shaky
won
was
the toss-up,
Good
you guys.
Dinosaur, 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not too shabby.
Dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
It's not called The Great Dinosaur. It's called
Not
The
a
Good
great
Dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Right.
It was also called The Land Before Time.
No.
Yeah. Hey-o.
All right, question 2. Disney announced out of the success of The Jungle Book, announced a full slate of live-action films. They're doubling down. They're like quadrupling down on this live-action trend. And I want to ask you guys, out of that list that was provided, that they've set some dates and things, which Disney upcoming live-action film will be the best? And we're starting with you this time, Jeff. Which one speaks to you the most?
A Wrinkle in Time. This is a book that is treasured by me and by millions of people who read it when they were kids. Madeleine L'Engle's wonderful book about time travel / interdimensionary travel. Mrs. Who, Mrs. What's-It, Mrs. Which. This is something that has never been brought to the screen before, unless I would
wrong.
love to get fact checked about that.
2006.
TV movie.
Yeah,
Not
TV movie.
screen.
Yeah,
2006.
Big screen. And I think Disney is going to realize that this can be a massive, incredible franchise. We've seen books brought to the big screen, brought to television now, and they're much more. They're much more. Consistent with what the book's themes were, and I think they're actually going to do a good job here. Instead of kind of trying to shoehorn it into making it into a mainstream property, they're going to capture what was magical about that book and bring it to the screen. And that book has stood the test of time. 1963, I believe it was published. This is a book that is cherished by me and millions, and I think it will be the best of these live-action films.
All right, we'll hear more when we get back. Hector, what's your pick?
Here's the thing. I am kind of opposed to Disney going in and redoing a lot of their animated classics. That's a newbie. But their animated ones, like we're hearing Cruella de Vil and, the Alice in Wonderland sequels, because I love the original animated stuff. I wasn't even the hugest fan of Jungle Book. I thought
Emma
it was
Stone as Cruella de Vil.
It's interesting. It's like I like Jungle Book, but I thought it's visually untouchable, but just story-wise, I'm like, I wish it wasn't enough for me.
Blasphemy.
But here's what I will say.
Fascinating.
A lot of the rides at Disneyland that have been turned into movies, a lot of them are hits and misses. And I think the biggest hit was Pirates of the Caribbean. Clearly, it's such a good movie. Another ride that I love, I'm a huge Disneyland fan and a huge Disney fan in general, The Jungle Cruise. The Jungle Cruise, when I heard it as a movie idea, I went, that's great, because that you can do pretty much whatever you want to it, and you're not beholden to a previous animated film. You're not beholden to a classic, very treasured children's book. The other thing for me is 3 words, baby. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's four words.
Guys, as soon as I heard this, here's the other
Can we
thing.
get the fact checker
That's
on the
four
number?
words.
That's 4 words. The Rock is
Joe,
one
that's
word.
4 words,
The
right?
Rock is one word.
Southern The Rock
Thank
is
you.
kind of
The Rock.
one word.
Here's the other thing. Jungle Cruise was going to be a movie, rumors years ago, with the leads as Tom Hanks and Tim Allen.
Yeah.
And I love Toy Story, and I thought that would be amazing. I thought they have such great chemistry. That's a no-brainer for live action, but that's a very different movie when you put The Rock in it instead, and those two guys are out of it. When I heard The Rock's going to be in it, I went, this is going to be an action comedy, the exact type of movie that I love, that I'm going to have so much fun watching, that is still going to be a period piece, which is amazing. And that's how you do another thing too, is that the Jungle Cruise could take place in a kind of a problematic period, the 1930s, and it's about Europeans either going to South America or to Africa, and you're like, it's a little, don't show ooga booga tribesman stuff, very offensive. You counteract that by obviously being aware of it, culturally sensitive, and then you just star The Rock. You have The Rock, who's just this beautiful cocoa butter color.
What the
and
hell?
Everybody loves The Rock.
Oh my
It's
God.
the most, it is the most no-brainer of all of these ideas. For all the animated ones, I'm like, that's going to be a hit, and that movie's going to be fun, and I can't wait to see it. Jungle Cruise.
John, what are you picking?
All right, mine is the Mary Poppins sequel. There's just so many positive
poppin'.
things involved. Are you going to keep, I mean...
I was just suggesting titles.
It's still poppin'.
Yeah.
Breaking 3. No, Mary Poppins, I think it just screams the best thing they're going to produce out of this live action thing. You have Rob Marshall, who already won an Oscar for Chicago. The film itself won an Oscar as well. You have Emily Blunt, who's fantastic in Into the Woods. She's a multifaceted actress who has done any number of genre of films and been successful at it. Even in the crappy films or films that don't quite get there, like The 5-Year Engagement, she's fantastic. Then she turns around and she's an action hero on Edge of Tomorrow. These are all positive things. Then you have Lin-Manuel Miranda. As if that's not enough. You have Lin-Manuel Miranda involved in the film, who just won the Pulitzer Prize for Hamilton for writing the book, lyrics, and story of Hamilton. He also did In the Heights in 2009, which is one of the most groundbreaking Broadway shows ever made. So you're in great hands here.
He's in it, too.
Yeah, he's in it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's playing Mary Poppins. That's what I hear.
I'm down.
That's what I've heard. I don't know about the fact checking on that.
Are we done with the jokes now?
And
David
go.
McGee.
Never.
David McGee is one of the writers on the film, and he wrote Life of Pi, which was nominated for 11 Academy Awards. He also wrote Finding Neverland, which was nominated for 7 Oscars, and he was nominated both times. So I think we're in the best hands. Plus, it's a fantastic property. It's been enough time, and I can't think of a better person to step in for Julie Andrews than Emily Blunt to really take this to the next level. She can sing. They can write the music. The songs would be fantastic. Mark Shaman is involved in the music, and he's done the music for Smash, the Tonys, the Oscars, Hairspray, South Park. So he can play all the different, he can run the spectrum of musicals. So I think it's all of it just screams that it's going to be a fantastically well done film.
What has Emily Blunt sung before on?
Into the Woods?
Oh,
Did you
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
The Devil Wears Prada was a musical too, so she was really good in that. Here's the thing
He's
about
lying.
director Rob Marshall.
We can check that.
Super. Let me try to poke some holes in that, because
Sure.
you cannot argue against that creative team. That's
Great
amazing.
creative
It's
team.
amazing team.
Right.
But Rob Marshall also directed another Disney sequel that wasn't so great, Pirates of the Caribbean 4 on Stranger Tides.
Sure.
Not great. That was a crappy
Okay.
one. Okay, we got to mark him down for that.
Sure.
The other thing, my main argument against that, again, such a solid team, is I don't know if story-wise it's going to be able to live up to the original Mary Poppins.
Yeah, what do you
which I
do?
think
Does
is
she have new
ama-
kids?
It's 20 years
Is-
later.
does she
It's
have-
going to be 20 years later, and
Okay.
it'll be the original was 1910, so this
Yep.
one's going to be 1930.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to be not Mary and Dick Van Dyke's character. I'm imagining it would be those same characters, but just 20 years later. Which I'm
Yeah,
like,
do you
well, then
get
they
Dick Van
don't.
Dyke's character? Do you get? I mean, I feel like how do you
Yeah.
recapture that magic?
So
Because
tough.
are you learning the same lessons? Are you getting the kids through the same hardships?
No.
I mean, you
This
can't.
isn't Finding Dory.
Good one, but you lost that one already. So
Yeah, and you're making the exact opposite argument.
No,
if
I'm
you
not. I'm
notice.
saying that it's not going to be Finding Dory. It's going to be
Yeah.
because the kids are older now. There's going to be new things for them to struggle with. There's going to be new things for her to struggle with because
So
she's
it's these
20
kids'
years
kids,
older.
or
It
what?
might be. It
Yeah.
might be. But it's
Yeah.
all that stuff that's in play. But you can't ask for a better team
Sure.
to take care of and create a story that will work and will make it fantastic. And yes, he's got some holes, but you can,
Yeah.
don't throw Dwayne Johnson, Mr. Cocoa Butter at me because
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
know.
give you Race to Witch Mountain, which sucked.
Tooth
I'm going to
Fairy.
give you the Tooth Fairy and
Yeah.
the Game Plan,
I
which
got
were
it.
all not that great Disney
got it.
films that he got involved with them.
Two
So-
words.
and then-
Fast Five.
yeah, great, but that's not Disney. John Requa and Glenn Ficarra wrote this, writing this film that you talk about, Jungle Cruise. They also wrote Cats and Dogs.
Absolutely,
Cats and
but
Dogs living together.
they also
right,
wrote
and the
Bad
terrible
Santa.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
I
and
think
the
it's interesting.
Whittling Focus.
They directed that too.
Yeah,
They
the
directed,
Whittling-
they
that's what I'm saying.
directed
Those are
Focus
all
and
bad strikes.
Whiskey Tango. I haven't seen them yet, but they seemed really solid, really good. And they also wrote Bad News Bears, and they wrote Bad Santa, which is one of the funniest
Yeah, but you
holiday
can't.
movies.
You can't.
It's so
you
great.
can't. Well, then I can give you all the lists
Sure.
for what Rob Marshall did.
They directed
you can't
Crazy Stupid
undercut.
Love.
I think it's interesting that you said that the Jungle Cruise is going to be an action comedy because there's nothing I think of more when I think of the Jungle Cruise ride than high action.
Yeah, exactly.
As one gunshot that happens and we're kind of falling asleep on the ride. And listen, I'm all for puns.
Yeah.
I love puns, and this movie better fucking have puns.
Whoa. Yeah,
it better have puns.
It will,
but. It does not scream action adventure, and I feel like maybe turning the Jungle Cruise into an action adventure might be
just look
putting
at Pirates
a
of the
square
Caribbean.
peg in a round hole.
Look at Pirates of the Caribbean. That ride is like one big dip, and then the rest of it's animatronics. It's not the most.
But you're talking about
intense ride.
pirates.
Sure, man.
Here
we're
We're
talking about
talking about
the jungle.
If we're talking about a cultural misappropriation, that's certainly in play.
You know where you
Absolutely.
are.
And it's
You're in
certainly
the
in play.
jungle, baby.
And you had a problem with that with the Joker, so why couldn't you have a problem with this?
Because they very smartly cast Dwayne Johnson as the lead, and that to me tells me they're going to be aware of some of the potentially.
That's like
racial
saying Quentin
politics
can
at
use
play.
the N-word because he cast Sam Jackson. That doesn't really make it okay, man.
No.
That doesn't necessarily make it okay. It's kind of a cover. It's kind of a cover.
Did you just equate The Rock to the N-word?
No, I'm saying they can
You
culturally
should do
appropriate. You're
You
saying
should
they're
do
going to
that.
get away
That's a
with it
white
by
guy.
having The Rock on
I think
there.
that it could have been
And that
so
doesn't make
easy,
any sense.
so easy for them to do Jungle Cruise starring a very hilarious team of white actors who I love, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen.
Yeah.
They could have cast a guy like Tom Cruise. Speaking of another white dude named Tom, great actors. They could have very easily done that and sort of been unaware of like some of the issues that people have had and at that time period and those types of stories that are told. But for me, when they cast Dwayne Johnson, this is like we're not going to do the sort of classic stereotypical thing.
Listen, no one is arguing that The Rock is not a national treasure.
Rock is
He's
a
a
national
god
treasure.
among men.
He really is.
He has a
He is.
charisma of 20 people.
Absolutely.
No one's gonna argue
He
that.
will deliver us. He will deliver us from evil.
I don't know about that.
He is our savior.
Oh my God.
But I don't know if he can save this movie.
And I don't think Anna DuVernay can save Wrinkle in Time.
I
Wrinkle in
think that's
Time is a
another great team.
confusing story.
Yes.
And it has problems
Yes.
with it. And DuVernay has shown us she's really well in Selma. But she's
Yeah.
done really, really small films.
But
So
don't
we
you
don't
think
we don't know yet what she can do. She's an unknown
those are
quantity.
high
And if
concepts.
the question
Don't you
is,
think that kids
which
are-
do we think is going to be the best?
Yeah.
Then the team, you got to trust the team. And the team right now for Mary Poppins sequel
Rock.
is
Thanks.
so fantastic.
A Mary
and with
Poppins
this is
sequel.
unknowns.
No one wants a Mary Poppins sequel.
A lot of people want a Mary Poppins sequel. You're a guy. You don't understand.
I think
so. A
Listen,
lot of women
I will
and children.
I will chim
want-
chimney your chim
You
chimney.
can chim chimmery right here, as long as your accent isn't.
Yeah, how do you creating iconic songs like that? I love the team.
The team is great. You both are giving me the team.
Well, let's talk about your
they're
movie.
being asked
We are talking
an
about
impossible task.
Let's talk about your movie for a second. Great team.
Hold on,
again,
let Jeff
great
get
team.
a statement out.
Okay,
So if we're talking about my movie, and you're saying it's such a complex story, I think kids today are.
It is.
Well, it is, but I think kids today are used to that and are conditioned to be embracing of. We live in a geek culture, as this show and many others are evidence of. And kids are growing up with Harry Potter, and they're growing up with very sophisticated science fiction concepts. I think A Wrinkle in Time has shown that it has stood the test of time.
It's a fantasy.
Magic. But
No,
keep
I-
going.
It's fantasy.
Yeah.
But keep
I
going.
was saying
Shut up, you two. Let Jeff talk.
Harry Potter and also science fiction
Okay, great.
concepts. I was
Great.
Yes, not that
Obviously.
worlds,
Thank
the
you,
worlds.
Jeff. Thank you,
Yes.
Jeff. I work there now, so I'm a little sensitive. Go ahead.
You work in
Harry Potter land.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
I'm a wand keeper there now.
Are you serious?
wand
Yeah, and
keeper?
Ollivanders.
You're a keeper of the
Can I-
wand?
Yeah, put that down. Put
When
that
are
down
you
there.
Can I come by and get a wand from
Absolutely.
you? Cool.
Dude, we
Yeah,
got
what's the show?
That's amazing.
What's the show? Can I take the point now?
I think you just
you
won.
guys-
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm
Wrinkle in
sure.
Time.
You know, I'm on John's side.
Yeah,
I
want some butterbeer?
I want to hook up on a
Seriously,
wand.
frozen
No.
or regular?
No, I think A Wrinkle in Time is the most original of any of these. It's not a remake. It's not a sequel. It's not some known quantity that we've already sort of seen
But we
on the
have
big
on
screen.
TV.
But this will be a version that has the resources and the full force of Disney behind it. It's going. I think it's going to be taken seriously, and it's going to be the way that this. What are you laughing at?
He's just looking at me saying, nah.
Not serious?
Jeff, I think it's fair what you're saying, but there's no cast. We don't know who the cast is going to be.
You
We
don't think
know
there
who the
will be
producers-
one by the time they shoot it?
Of course, but we don't know who they're going to be and if they're going to be any good. It
So
could
you're
be
holding
casting,
against me
miscasting.
the fact that it has not been cast yet.
Yes.
You're saying the negative behind it.
The question is, which will be one of the best? How can you possibly know when you don't know what the cast is
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
sure
be?
they'll not be able to cast it, guys.
I'm sure it'll be amazing.
You know what's great?
Disney
You know
knows
what's great?
up.
I'm going to do it in your terms.
Yeah.
Present me a concept that
Yeah.
I can create. Don't tell me what's involved inside of it. it. But I just know you're going to do a good job. I just know you're going to do a good job.
I don't understand what you're saying right now, John.
I'm saying because he's a tech guy, and he's like, hey, let me hand you an idea for a thing. Don't worry, it's going to be great.
Here's the other thing.
But I know what's inside of it. Don't worry, it's going to be great.
Tomorrowland was an out there sci-fi concept that I think is even less complicated.
Yeah, Tomorrowland is the
A Wrinkle in
case,
Time, which has a lot going on, and people didn't really respond to Tomorrowland.
No, it's a bad
that was
movie.
a tough sell.
It's a bad
movie, but that should have been an easy, again, coming off of a section of Disneyland ride, should have been an easier thing, and they weren't able to nail it down. And I think that's just it's a tough concept.
All right. A lot of things spewed out here. This is great. But give me your final thought. Why is yours the best?
All right, I'm going to start because, A, the team is already in place, which is a very fantastic team, Oscar-winning team, strong team. They're the ones that are going to write a fantastic movie, write great music, bring back the magic, bring back that element, and it's a known quantity. And if the question is, which do we think the live action will be the best, it is the most known quantity that you can verify it will be the best, which is the other two are hinging on possiblies and maybes. This is such a home run that it's almost undebatable to me.
A Wrinkle in Time is a phenomenal book, and Hollywood has finally figured out how to translate phenomenal books into phenomenal films. And the fact that it has not been cast means that there's a potential for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to be cast.
Potential, baby. I already got mine. Here's the deal. Mary Poppins is going to be great, but I don't think it's going to live up to the original. It's a matter of not living up to. A Wrinkle in Time, I think, is super, super risky and too much of an out there concept to really land with audiences on sort of a global general audience scale. I think Jungle Cruise is going to be the best at what it is going to set out to do, which is going to be a fun action comedy that is going to entertain you with some really cool animals and settings and jungle locations and all that stuff, but mainly action comedy, and it's going to nail it. These other two things have got a lot of hurdles that they've got to leap over. That's tough. Mine's easy to make, baby. It's easy. Jungle Cruise.
Yours doesn't have a lot of hurdles to leap over.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you out of your
Kevin
mind?
Hart joining it. Would that be a plus or a minus?
Yeah.
Depends.
That's a minus.
That's a minus.
Jumanji.
It depends.
That's a minus.
Oh, is that Jumanji?
I think that's Jumanji.
Is Kevin
Joe.
Hart in Jumanji?
Well, that's
I
what
think
they're
so.
saying.
Lord.
I think
They're gonna
they
compete
only
with
want
their-
to work
But you
together
have just
now.
as many hurdles with that. So.
Oh man, I don't know where I'm going with this one. All right, Joe, give me some guidance over there.
Let's see here. On our poll, Wrinkle in Time takes the poll.
Yeah, mother.
Twitter also wants to see Sword in the Stone in Mulan, and a lot of people are really into a live-action Ariel, but I'm not sure about their reaning. Let's see here.
I think I know the reasoning.
The Jungle
Sexual.
Cruise ride has a skipper school where Jungle Cruise hosts are trained to properly improvise. So Jungle Cruise does have a good
colonialize?
road on how you could make that a fun movie. Just send the leads to skipper school. Wrinkle in Time is rated one of the top read-aloud books for 6th graders and is rated one of teachers' top 100 books for children. So I think kids get the concepts for how complicated it is.
Yeah.
And Wand Keepers at Universal Studios can also get you discounted admission to Wet and Wild in Florida, discounted movie tickets,
In Florida.
Well,
Not here.
and discounts on food and merchandise in the park. So you
I
also
can't get you
once.
any of that.
Whoa, that's what the internet says, though.
The double thumbs up from Ken in the booth really wants to go to Universal Studios.
Oh, wow. All right. Based on the arguments, here's what I heard. Fantastic team, action comedy with The Rock, great source material. And to me, you made a point of Jeff doesn't... The only thing you can base these things on is the source material, which you said, how can we promise that the team or The Rock can deliver? I think you made a good point that we're ready to tell that story right. Just because it's confusing doesn't mean to knock against it. And they could cast The Rock, which was a very good point.
Yeah,
so
man.
Jeff gets the point in my mind. Yeah. Based on... Sweet. Both of you are just telling me the teams are good, but how do we know Mary Poppins 2 is actually going to be good? How do you know?
How do you know the source material? Oh,
I read it.
We read it.
Mostly from reading it.
I did say at the beginning
Usually
of the
reading
Did you see
Already.
Batman vs. Superman had 4 graphic novel source materials and it was
bad call.
terrible.
Anyway,
That's
very
too-
tight.
Too many source materials.
Very good fight. All right, round 3. Chris Moeller on Twitter asked us this one. So wait, actually, before I set this up, come back to me. Avatar sequels. They're dropping 4 of these suckers.
Yeah.
4 of these suckers. Now, I think some of you were excited here, and some are excited, but the majority of the internet was not. They're kind of like, really?
Stupid internet.
Why are we still needing to go to Pandora? What's with Avatar? So, this question comes in. James Cameron signs up for 4 more Avatars. Chris Muller on Twitter wants us to pitch a way to get us excited about these sequels. How do we get excited for more Avatar movies? Now, the people who aren't excited, how do you excite them? And I want to hear, what's the plan? What's Cameron got to do? Do we have some plot ideas? There are 4 movies. I don't need you to tell me everyone, but give me a little bit of excitement so we can be like, yes, Avatar's back, sign me up. And Hector, you're first.
Here's what you do. I'm one of the people that liked Avatar. I didn't love it. But what I did love was the experience of going to the theater in 2009 and being blown away with the really first good use of 3D technology. Right before I went to go see Avatar, I got a job working in the 3D movie industry. I worked in 3D conversion, and I was working on Alice in Wonderland at the time. And we were all in this new industry, and we're like, is this going to pay off? And then Avatar came out, and everybody around the world said, yes, this is incredible if it's done right. If it's done right. This is incredible if it's done right. That was obviously a Freudian slip of the tongue. You know how much I love brown people. All right.
So your pitch is to do it what?
Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch to get people like me who aren't excited, because ultimately the story is weak. The beauty about Avatar is not the story or the writing. It is some of the performances. It is obviously the special effects. They're mind blowing. And to me, it's the use of 3D and that theater experience to get people to go back to the theater, which I think is a noble thing to do. Here's my pitch. Don't give us every single little story detail of Avatar 2, 3, and 4. And 5. Oh, there's 4 more coming? Jeez, that's so many. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's so many. But rather, when that first trailer comes out, I want the trailer and the marketing of this to remind audiences around the world. This is from James Cameron, who originated some of the best film 3D technology ever. This is going to blow you away. This is going to immerse you in a way you've never seen before. Since Avatar, people can argue it hasn't been done right. The 3D hasn't been that good. Jungle Book was very good because Favreau was chasing that. He was chasing that Cameron 3D. And I want the trailer of the 3D to be just insane. I want that thing to just hit it hard. Double down on that. Show us new Avatar worlds. You know, Cameron said the second one's going to be taking place with the Na'vi tribe, like underwater, and then the third one in a different part of the planet, and the fourth one. That's all fine and good, but show us that with 3D that is going to promise you that this thing is perfect. It's not going to make you dizzy. It's not going to make you nauseous. This wasn't rushed. This is Cameron taking his sweet, sweet time on every single frame of this thing, and to just double down on the fact that this is an experience that you need to go to the theaters to see. And also, he spent the entire time writing like a good movie this go around, and there's no words like unobtainium in it. So that comes secondary to me with just that experience. If it's going to be as good as the original Avatar or better, I got to have that film 3D experience.
John, you're up next.
All right. So my pitch is Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars. That's my pitch. It's been years since the humans have gone home. Jake and Neytiri have helped rebuild Pandora, and it is a thriving planet once again. They have a daughter they've trained in both their ways, who is a strong mix of warrior and a natural scientist. And unbeknownst to them, another alien race from a planet, Epimethea, that has a history of wars with Pandora, has been laying in wait for the humans to leave. They seek to take Pandora for their own and harness the power of the Tree of Life to restore their planet's strength and take over the solar system. They're led by an uncompromising ruler played by Daniel Day-Lewis. He has a son, and the daughter of Jake and Neytiri will be the love affair that carries us through the wars and through those next 4 films. And I think that's what I'm trying to. That's my main my main pitch, is that we've got the idea of Star Wars already. We've got an idea of multiple planets. We've got the multiple solar systems. One thing James Cameron does really well is create environments that are believable, fun to be in, and fun to watch. And I think what he can do here, if you give him the Star Wars blueprint, is create multiple planets, multiple situations, create multiple. You're giving him an entirely huge playset to do things with, and he can create multiple alien races. He can create all of this, and we have to have, just like in Titanic, which made $1 billion, first film to ever make $1 billion, just like in his other films, you have these love stories or these connections between men and women that really carry us through. Avatar, same way, had the love story there originally. You could even say that with Aliens, with Michael Bihn's character and with Ripley, there is a connection. Whether it's love or not, we don't know yet. They didn't have time. So there's things that James Cameron does, especially in Terminator as well. The first Terminator, you have that there with Sarah Connor and Michael Bihn's character. There's a lot here that he knows how to do. Romeo and Juliet, he knows how to do. You give him a play set and a blueprint like Star Wars. I think James Cameron can do an amazing job taking us through there and then taking us through to the end, where we even get generations upon generations that work within the four films that he's going to make of Avatar.
Great. Jeff?
I love the first Avatar film. I saw it 6 times in the theater. I found it to be incredible. Wow. I think James Cameron is a filmmaker that does not know how to make a bad movie. He is a master filmmaker, and he's also a man who has more money than God. Right. What he did not need to do is make more movies at all, and certainly didn't need to make more Avatar films. And he certainly did not need to make 4 films at once, an unprecedented thing that is going to be as challenging an undertaking as any filmmaker has ever bitten off. This is a man who is up to that challenge, but also I think that challenge indicates that he is passionate about this project and wants to infuse it with the full force of his creativity. That makes me excited. I think doubling down on 3D is a bad idea. I think that's the sort of back way in that we want people to appreciate 3D again, but that's not going to be the selling point because people have such a bad taste in their mouth. Here's my pitch for the selling point. One of my biggest problems with science fiction in general is Harry Potter. No, just kidding.
Good call back.
Thanks. Is Star Wars? You go to Hoth. It's a whole planet.
Yeah.
It's an ice planet. Yeah. You see ice. If I went around to the other side of the ice planet, more ice? Is that more ice? Okay, well let's go to the moon of Endor. What's moon of Endor like? That's looks like a forest. But what if I went around to the other side of that planet? Still a forest.
Let's go to Tatooine.
Yeah, it's a desert planet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's on the other side?
Still desert.
So desert.
Yeah.
Why is that? And why does an entire planet in science fiction have one quality?
Yeah.
What I think we're going to see over the course of 4 films. Now, he's saying I needed to make 4 because there's so much to tell here. He also has stated that he has the world's best design team and writers working on this. And they have been working on it for years.
Right.
We are going to get to see Pandora in its variety. As you said, we're going to get to see its undersea environment.
Yeah.
We're going to get to see completely wildly different sides of Pandora. We are going to be as intimately familiar with a planet as we have ever been in any science fiction work. And I think that is so exciting to me, that we are really going to understand the flora, the fauna, the cultures on this planet. And really, it reinforces the idea of a man who is becoming another thing, who is taking on the avatar of this other culture and learning about it deeply. I find that to be completely exciting. And then on top of all that, we get the level of spectacle that James Cameron always brings to things, and the fact that we have progressed exponentially in a technological perspective from where Avatar was back when it was released.
Sure.
All of that makes me extraordinarily excited for these 4 films.
You guys had some great pitches, and I want all of that to kind of happen. I could go either way. I could go more planets, or I could go the same planet. Like, both good arguments for that thing. But for me, I think the way that I took this question was, how do you get audiences excited at the prospect of more Avatar films? All of the stuff that you guys are talking about, that could be James Cameron telling us that stuff in interviews, and then the movie comes out and it doesn't deliver all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I hear that question, how do we get audiences excited? There's a little bit of marketing involved. There's a little bit of how do we sort of remind audiences, or even if it's like not that great of a story, trick audiences. That's what marketing is. It's getting butts in seats and getting the right people who are going to love that film, such as yourself back in 2009, to get into that seat to see the movie. That's what Avatar needs to do. Is how do you connect to audiences again? I think that story-wise, Avatar is very weak, and it is because it's very simple and it's on purpose. So I think that to me has left a bad taste in audiences' mouths. We've become very sophisticated since 2009 with that type of storytelling that we would want and require. And although 3D does have a bad rap, this is the guy that you cannot argue with.
I agree.
This is the guy who can come forward, and that's what I want the most, more than any of that's like, I want all that stuff. It's like, don't worry about that. Story stuff, casting, Daniel Day-Lewis, great. That first trailer needs to come out and be like, get your ass to the theater to see Avatar 2. We promise you, all of these movies are going to include insane, amazing technology, which is another thing that James Cameron is an originator at. He is an incredible technological mind, and he is groundbreaking in that sense as well. To me, that's going to get me excited about the theater experience of Avatar.
Hector,
what makes sure that 2 is exciting? Go ahead.
Your argument is the way to make the movie great is to have a great trailer? I disagrey.
Yeah.
I think
that's how you get audiences excited about it. I'm not talking about the movie itself. I'm saying, how do you get audiences excited about a great trailer? Step 1.
All right. Well, I feel like a great movie would be the key to that. But great movies make great trailers.
Obviously. Well, sometimes
but
no.
here's what I would say.
Sometimes
James Cameron, every time he's made a sequel, has taken the franchise in
T2.
Wildly new directions. T2,
much better.
Aliens,
Yeah.
right? He took, and not even
Arguably
his
better.
own franchise,
Right.
he took and he broadened it, expanded the scope, and I feel like we are going to get that with these movies. And each iteration is going to expand the scope and expand the scope and expand the scope, and it's going to be on a level of spectacle and science fiction wizardry that only he can do.
It's fantastic that both of you have essentially sliced my argument into little pieces and owned it. I've already said everything you two are saying. And
Isn't that
the
convenient?
story.
I think yours hinges on Daniel Day-Lewis's availability, which I feel like
that's
is
really.
I don't think you mentioned 3D at all
I
one
said
time.
he was going to create the most lifelike things within all the planets that he's going to create.
Cool.
He's got a playset. This is the 3D. The playset is the 3D. And what you're talking about, yes, he's going to explore deeper and deeper. And this is what I'm talking about. You give him the playset of multiple planets, multiple universes, multiple things to play with, multiple solar systems. James Cameron is going to step up to the plate and knock it out of the park. But without the soul of a movie, without things that people can connect to, he's not going to be able to sell it as well. And I'm telling you, the only reason people went to Titanic multiple times, those girls, those young boys, was the story. And that's what I'm telling you. The story I've pitched to you, combined with his ability to do the ultimate 3D experience, combined with his ability to flesh out these planets, is what's going to sell the film. And so when you see that first trailer, and you see his amazing ability to expand the universe, and you see the story, you will be blown away, and you'll be excited, and you'll want to see what's coming next. Just like Star Wars did with Force Awakens, reawakening in essence that franchise. You see Rogue One, and you're like, oh my God, they're staying in that same kind of vein. And that what you're going to see from Avatar is a better, James Cameron, who does the sequels, combined with all the stuff that I'm pitching to you, and the stuff, he's going to make the ultimate stuff. And when you watch the trailer, you're going to be addicted to see what the next movies are going to be like.
So to sum up, so you're focusing on story and planet building and sort of planet building and stuff, and then you're sort of giving me, we're going to really explore that planet and see some amazing things we've never done and details that we haven't done, and you're just pitching me on 3D experience is what the key
Andy,
is.
not just.
So
I'm saying, I'm answering the question as to how I understood it.
How I'm gathering.
Okay.
So you get one more shot here. Tell me why your way is the way to get us excited. Full ass pitch on why that is. So if I'm missing something, catch me up.
Again, the question was, how do you get
and
audiences
you can't just keep
excited?
piling on more and more things to any of you. Tell me. What's your main reason?
I'll try to sum up. All the stuff that these guys are talking about, to me, that's tough to get across in a 2.5 minute trailer. And it is. It's sometimes difficult to get a very multi-layered relationships of two characters across in a 2.5 minute trailer. It's easier to do in a world. It's easier to do because we don't have him anymore. It's easier to do world building in a 2.5 minute trailer. It's easier to show visuals, and that's some of the things that like Star Wars did so beautifully. The trailers for that, the music, we see the visuals, we see some characters, but we don't especially know what all the relationships are quite yet. My whole pitch is like, yes, I want all this to happen, Andy, but for me, I think the best and smartest thing for audiences to get excited about Avatar coming from James Cameron, another 4 films, is if you remind the audience what was so great about that initial experience and made some people want to go see it 6 times in theaters. And to me, it wasn't just the story, which is weak. It wasn't just the effects, which are groundbreaking and amazing, but it was all of that. It was a combination of everything and the 3D technology, which he mastered, and you could say hasn't been touched since. So double down on that.
Hey, let me.
Jeff, go ahead.
I'll hinge my argument on this. When you first saw A New Hope, what was the first thing you saw? Episode 4.
You mean when you saw the movie?
What? Episode 4?
Unless you saw it the original 1977.
Yeah, which didn't say
This is
that.
a larger
Still, which is how I saw
saga. This is an incredible epic saga, and I'm only coming in episode 4. Stuff has happened before. Stuff is going to happen after. This is one part of a much larger tapestry of movies. What we're getting, all we know right now, is there are going to be 4 more Avatars, and James Cameron saying, "I need that many movies to tell the story I'm going to tell." That, to me, is the pitch. It's, look how much more there is to tell about this planet, this place, these people, this culture. That I think is what excites me the most, is that we're going to get so much more here. There's so many more installments coming that you are going to really be able to invest into this science fiction world, and there's going to be a depth and scope there that is going to be only comparable to things like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and these other grand epic sagas.
John.
Okay, so the effects and technology are great, right? That's awesome. That's so good. But it means nothing without a story, as is evidenced by all the Transformer movies. And so what you want with James Cameron is, great, give me the effects, give me the 3D, all that's already banked in. What you want is the story. That's what's going to keep you coming. That's what's going to get you excited to go see it on opening night. That's what's going to get all your friends to buy the tickets and sell out the theater. It is the story. You want to see, because you already know these characters. So the Star Wars comparison is already built in. We already know these characters. Where can you take us next? And when you have a story and you introduce us to new characters, you make us connect, and you're going to go multi-generational with the story, that's what's going to keep us coming back. Because once we invest in these characters, the effects are going to be great, but that will only just add to the enjoyment. Whereas the soul of the movie is going to be the connection between these characters and the environments you're going to create that these alien races inhabit, and how and identify with the leaders of these alien races and how they're taking us from story point to story point all the way to the end.
Time, Joe.
All right, a couple things to get through here. Star Wars, the original prints did not say Episode 4, A New Hope. The Twitter poll, people really like Jeff's idea of fleshing out the planets, the flora and the fauna. Let's see here. Avatar has an 83 critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 82% audience rating. So a good trailer might be all it takes to get people back in. And also, Twitter really wants Arnold Schwarzenegger as the bad guy.
Interesting.
No one said that.
Also, Daniel Day-Lewis, nothing announced on IMDb currently, so he might be available.
I would love to see. I would love to see his research to play a Navi.
That's right.
So it came down to story. It's like passion from a filmmaker and an experience, like the theater experience.
Correct.
So they're just three completely different things.
Yeah,
so
good job, guys.
I know, it's actually pretty hard. I'm going through my notes just because I'm trying to figure out who got a little bit more than the others, and I think there was a line that you're all equal, but there was a line that stood out to me, which was a very interesting point, is no one's done sequels better than James Cameron. That was Jeff. Put me over the edge.
Wow.
Because I think you all had three really good points, but it was a very valid last little thing that kept in my memory. So I got to say, based on everyone having it good, that was what did it. That's where I'm going. Seat in my pants, because that was a tough one.
Cool.
I would just like to say you have a phenomenal pants seat.
Thank you.
I'd rather like it.
All right, sorry, make sure I'm keeping this score properly. Round 4. What franchise that hasn't already crossed over should cross over with Alien? Now, this is in honor of Alien Day, which just happened. And Ridley Scott is working on another, what is it called? Paradise Lost Alien or something?
Amateur Prometheus?
Yep. Prometheus Alien crossover hybrid movie. So we want to ask the question, what should be matched up with the Alien franchise to get us excited, have fun with? And John, you're first.
Yeah, my choice was Blade Runner. Because Ridley Scott has already dropped little Easter eggs throughout his movies that Blade Runner and Aliens already exist in the same universe. He did it in the Steelbook and the Blu-ray for Prometheus. There's one little screenshot, an email, and it mentions the Weyland-Yutani Industries, which created the Nostromo for Alien. And they also mentioned that the Lower Sun created the off-world replicants. So all of that is already connected. So to me, the vibe of Aliens, oh, nice.
That's great.
Nice. It's a shame she won't live.
Watch out, Edward James Olmos, get out of there.
Right. So you already have that built in. The creator himself has already sanctioned crossing these two things over, and that's really, really one of the most essential pieces that you need to make the crossover work. Ridley Scott. The vibes of both those franchises have the same vibe. It has people looking for meaning, looking for understanding why. You have Bishop, you have Ash, you have David, you have the replicants, you have Roy Batty, you have Pris. They all are searching for what their place is in the universe, and I think that's you've got that vibe already with both of them. So when they cross over, it's seamless and it works. And the idea of the replicants being challenged by something like an alien off colony, an alien race colony, sending out these cybernetic organisms to fight them, and then seeing how many are getting killed to send the Blade Runners. Then you get into an action situation. So you get the great combination of an action movie, sci-fi action movie, with the best part of sci-fi, which is questioning existence, questioning why certain things are connected the way they are, why a creation has to combat its creator, what is going on. And I think that's what you see in Blade Runner and in Aliens, since they both have that same kind of vibe. I think their crossover would work. Den of Geek writer Ryan Lambie said, for all its manifold flaws, Prometheus is of a piece thematically with Blade Runner. So already Ridley Scott is leaning into the Blade Runner thing. And so for me, that's what works.
Great. Jeff, what's your pick?
I actually think that's a really cool idea. I always loved when I was a kid when Isaac Asimov took his Foundation novels and then took his robot novels and then found a way to meld them together. I think that's a really, really cool idea. Unfortunately, I just don't think that it allows us to the fun thing, which is, what do I want to see an alien fight? I've already seen an alien fight synthetic organisms. In fact, I've seen one die in almost every alien movie, and it's pretty cool. But
a Blade Runner is not a synthetic organism. But okay.
Well,
that's just a dude,
same
right?
Z's.
It's a dude.
Blade Runner's a dude?
Yeah. So's Batman.
We've seen Alien go up
So's
against
Batman.
dudes.
So's Batman.
Well, you kind of spoiled my thing. Kind of undercut my thing.
Yeah.
Well, but
What's your thing?
Kind of not
Let
cool.
him talk,
What's your thing?
Kind of not cool.
Like I haven't. Like you didn't do that to me twice. Go ahead, Jeff.
A Batman.
Oh, cool.
Batman.
Cool.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming.
I think who would we want to fight?
That's awesome.
Who would we want to fight the alien? That's my question to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Not a human
Who do you
being.
want to fight the alien? Maybe Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Maybe, but if we
That's
can't
fair.
get if Dwayne is unavailable, I want the Batman. And the Batman fighting an alien is a fight that I want to see.
Now, which Batman?
Yeah.
Will it be Ben Affleck?
I mean, we could do Ben Affleck. I'm fine with that.
Let him answer, Hector.
I would. You know, if I had my druthers, I would love to have old Michael Keaton. That'd be rad.
You can pick what.
That's-
if you're
pick
old, all
Keaton,
right.
Okay.
I'm in. I'm in for old
Michael Keaton. Okay.
He's old, all right.
He's old and awesome. Are you talking shit about Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
How dare you?
This show makes us play dirty, man.
That's
Like,
right.
I know he doesn't
Movie
want to,
fights.
but it's like
He's surprised a lot.
Yeah. It ain't movie stroke my ego. It's
Lost
movie
my
fights.
train of thought here. So anyway, I want to see. We've already seen the Batman franchise ruined numerous times, so
Yeah.
we're not losing anything Batman-wise,
yeah.
right? So why not have a fun? Why not throw Batman an alien and see what he does? How is Batman going to take on an alien? I want to see that. I loved how Ridley managed to like get in a mech and like shoot fire at the alien. That was all fun. I had a great time seeing how she figured out the answer to that problem. But you know who has cool solutions to problems? The world's greatest detective. Yeah, let's get him on that. Let's get him on the alien problem, and maybe we're in future like Batman Beyond territory, because old Michael Keaton as Batman Beyond would be pretty freaking cool.
yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
No,
It does. It makes it because the aliens.
Hey,
are
Batman
kind of
Beyond is
future.
a younger character, so it wouldn't
Hector,
make sense.
what's
But
your
go ahead.
pick?
Bruce Wayne and Batman Beyond. John, you know what he means. My pick is, I'll do you one better, Jeff. My movie also has fun, but it's also funny, which
Ooh,
Batman
funny.
is not. Batman is not. Batman is a
I
humorless.
love movies that are funny.
He's a humorless son of a gun. My
that French?
pick is Men in Black, the Men in Black franchise. Because why not, Sony? You're already ruining it by combining it with 21 Jump Street. You might as well combine it with a film franchise that includes actual freaking aliens. How about that? So, because both of these have sort of, as much as I love Aliens and the original Alien, both of these franchises have become jokes. Their sequels were bad. Alien vs. Predator was bad. Let's have some. Alien vs. Predator was bad.
It's
Did you not hear what I said?
connected to the same thing as
Oh,
Ridley Scott's
sure,
universe.
okay,
Don't
fine,
start that
that's
crap.
fine,
You
sure.
know that better than that, Hector.
It's okay, whatever. There's an alien in it. It's a xenomorph in it.
Okay,
So
all right.
let's put a xenomorph or an entire planet of them or entire a group of them either invading Earth so that the Men in Black organization has to fend them off in a funny and interesting way. I'm not even saying Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. They're done. Those characters are done. Not Agent J and Agent K, but new characters.
Channing Tatum?
Yeah, not Channing Tatum either. No, but like how in Men in Black at the end of the first one we got a tease that Will Smith's new partner was going to be that actress. I forget
Linda
her name.
Fiorentino.
What if the
Fiorentino,
alien
great.
is a man in black?
Hey, Jeff, let him finish his
That's
point.
okay, man. Yeah,
Don't
let's
undercut.
do it.
Don't undercut.
I'm just saying that
I want to
my
see an
movie,
alien in a little suit with a tie.
it would be something to reinvigorate the Men in Black franchise and not rest on the star power of Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith and bring it back in a way that to me makes more sense than 21 Jump Street, which is the most let's make this a jokey joke thing and throws away both of those franchises, which I think could still both of them be redeemed. And it does something that you add to the universe of Aliens a fun, human, interesting angle. The planet Earth, is it Earth in the future? Is that when we meet Xenomorphs? Has Xenomorphs been here this entire time and it's back in the past? It's in the 60s or the 70s or the 80s since the Men in Black were founded in 1950s or whatever with Roswell. So there's so many different things you can do. It can be Earth-based. It can even be in the future. And the Men in Black organization, that is a human organization, goes into space to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Their job is to protect Earth, but they're also this universal presence. But there's so much potential to have fun and for it to be funny and not humorless. The other thing is that we've seen Batman fight aliens in a comic book and it was just
Twice.
whatever. Yeah, twice. So
Twice.
it's like, I've
Could
seen
be better.
that.
It could be
was
better on the
terrible.
big screen.
They were terrible crossover series
Yeah.
in 97 and in 2003. Some of the worst writing you've ever seen. Some of the worst animation you've ever seen for Batman. It doesn't work.
Was it the aliens?
Aliens versus Batman.
Yeah, it's because Vertigo
It was done.
owned the rights to Alien.
and
Dark
they played with
Horse.
it, right.
Yeah, I think it was Dark
I
Horse.
mean, one of the worst
Oh, was it
ones.
Dark Horse? Yeah,
the
you're
second
right.
one was the worst when they tried to combine the alien DNA with villains from Arkham Arkham Asylum. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so all of that, it just doesn't work. It's two completely different properties that should not cross over because it doesn't work, because their basic tenets don't fit together like Lego pieces, so to speak. Whereas Blade Runner and Aliens do, and they've already got built in. But I disagree with your idea of Men in Black.
I disagree with your disagreement.
That's completely undercutting Men in Black's
got a lot going on.
The awesome thing about Aliens is that they're scary, they're badass, they are the basis of what some of the best films we've seen in sci-fi, Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
You could even argue Alien 3 for Fincher at some point. Some people could argue
those movies
that.
were about
And some
the
people
people.
Alien Resurrection.
They're not about the creatures.
Right,
about
but
the
the
people.
creature is
like
the
Men in
fear.
Black would
There
be.
was no there's joking within to like alleviate the stress, but
Exactly.
the stress, you take
I
away the
wrote down
stress if you
suspense
have
comedy.
two guys quipping the whole time.
I wrote suspense
it'll
comedy, not the
undercut-
whole time, John.
it'll
It's a
undercut-
balance.
there's
You
no
gotta
way
find a
Men in Black-
balance.
But Men in Black doesn't do that.
Absolutely,
Their
it
franchise
can.
don't do that.
Absolutely, it can.
Yeah, but you're saying it
there's
can.
true moments of
You're
great
saying it
sci-fi.
can.
There's two moments of great sci-fi action, suspense, and great drama in that first Men in Black movie, which I think is criminally underrated.
Yeah, but the
It's so
drama
good.
is
It's so
human
good.
drama. It's
Of
not
course.
Alien with the drama. So
Same
it's-
like
so
same
I
with
think the
Aliens.
fun-
It's an alien.
The fun of a potential crossover movie is like, wow, I can't believe they're doing that. You know,
Exactly.
can Jason fight
Wow,
Freddy?
the
Why
two-
would they? Because Freddy works in dreams and Jason works at campgrounds.
I'm just over the
But-
versus idea. I don't
yeah,
like that.
I think it's a fun idea to like take something wildly disparate and throw them together and see how that works and make that happen. I think that's the more fun concept and the more fun thing. I like the fact that this is already sort of in the same universe, but it just makes it a little less exciting and interesting
That's
to me.
not- that's
and I
so
kind of feel
incorrect.
the same thing about Men in Black, where
Yeah.
you have these guys already fight aliens.
Yeah.
It would be cool if
It's nothing new.
If an alien like kind of went by in one scene, you're like, oh, the actual alien lives in that universe too. But the idea to like build the whole movie around that, and also Men in Black movies, one thing that annoys me about them is there's no rules. Like their weapons just do whatever the fuck
In
they
the
need.
first one, in the first one, there's plenty of rules. Yeah,
But
they
their
let you
weapons
know.
just do whatever they need at any given time.
It's very easy.
It's debatable.
It doesn't fit
2
the
and 3 are
intelligence.
Seeing
of an
Batman
alien
have to
movie.
use bat stuff to deal with an alien, that's cool. Like, how is a Batman going to deal with an alien? What's he going to do?
I've
gonna-
seen it. It's in a
nothing,
comic
die.
book, Jeff. I've seen it. It's
Yeah.
in a comic book.
It's not that-
And
Wow,
the thing about
Yeah, the thing with what you're talking about, the versus, it's so played out, it doesn't work. What you're saying to me, you put two things together, two desperate things together. Disparate. That's what I meant. That's what I was trying to say. Two things together, and they're exciting. What is more disparately awesome and exciting to put together than the #1 sci-fi film ever made, and arguably the number 2 sci-fi film ever made, and combine them? That would be awesome. People would nerdgasm all over themselves, all over the internet, all over the world.
Question for you.
The idea that Blade Runner would cross over with
fact check
aliens.
that whole #1 thing.
Yeah. You could find me a better sci-fi
He's
movie than
good.
Blade
That was
Runner?
an opinion. He's good.
Oh, it's an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
But question
Sounded
for
like
you,
a
because
fact.
you were talking about how those worlds already you're saying those worlds already mixed together, and I really disagree.
Well, they're beginning
I think
to
that,
mix together.
I think that aesthetically they absolutely mix together, and I think Ridley Scott's so brilliant at that. But to me, the aesthetics isn't enough of a reason to have these two very different ideas. One is very survival horror, that first Alien film, and it was about the people and those characters' relationships, versus that more philosophical. One is not as philosophical.
But you're
You know what
ignoring
I'm saying?
Bishop. You're ignoring Ash. You're ignoring David. These are all cybernetic organisms that introduce the philosophical argument.
Final thought, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And that's what we're getting to,
Yeah.
right? It's the whole idea that, and what better person do you need to be in charge of it than Ridley Scott? Ridley Scott, who created both franchises in essence, and created and put them together. And we have the creator. He will know exactly how to create this crossover because he knows these characters and every nook and cranny of these characters, so he can mine them for the ultimate story, the ultimate conflict, the ultimate connection and crossover that works and will leave the audiences satisfied walking out of the theater. I don't think you get that with Batman. We've seen Batman fail so many times. How many people are going to take a chance on that? And it's not just, hey, let's just do it for fun. That's not going to work in a movie. A lot of times we've seen that fail.
Yeah, fun never
and
works in
with
movies.
Hector, for fun, I said, not defun. For Hector, the Men in Black thing undercuts Alien completely because it's a joke fest, that whole film, those films. And so it'll undercut the terror and the fear that aliens need for the audience to buy the possibility that anybody could die. No one's going to die in a Men in Black movie. People will die in a Blade Runner Aliens movie. People won't die in a Batman versus Aliens movie, not that, So this is more real. This is more real. So the crossover makes more sense. That's my...
Jeff, final thoughts.
I think that the Alien franchise has been irreparably harmed. I
Yes.
think the Batman franchise has repeatedly been harmed. I say scorched earth. Let's just go for fun. I'm sick of watching Batman fight Superman and not having any fun. I don't want doer Batman. I want fun Batman. I want take these properties, and if we're gonna ruin them anyway,
you want Adam West Batman?
Dude, Adam West versus Alien. I am in.
Yeah,
I am.
great.
I will
Yikes.
add his asses in seats. That's
Nope.
right there.
Nope.
So I say that's the most fun version, and I kind of feel like Men in Black versus Alien is called Independence Day. So
Hector.
Welcome to Earth. Just going off of what John was saying, to put Ridley Scott in the charge of it, old Ridley Scott's great. New Ridley Scott's a mixed bag. The guy prefers style over substance. And I know that I'm talking about like a fun, goofy, type of movie, but my movie will do two things. It would elevate both franchises to kind of even them out, because Men in Black is a lot of jokes, but there's a lot of good stuff there, especially that first film, Under the Surface, that to me hasn't been explored enough. So if you add that suspense and you have those moments of true terror and Alien killing Men in Black
they are
members,
killing.
absolutely. Like characters die, maybe not our lead characters or male, female, whatever There's characters. no way. Of course, you could work that to make it a really scary and intense PG-13 experience, while also bringing the Alien franchise, which has been irrevocably damaged.
Easy for you
That's
to
a
say.
word, you can fact check that. To bring that to more of a place of like, this is going to be better than Alien versus Predator, because that was really cheesy crap. And then Batman, I don't want to see the cheap Batman that I know and love in the comic books, where he goes up against the Incredible Hulk and stands a chance. I
Yeah.
hate that Batman. Leave that Batman to the comic books, where he just beats every odds no matter what. Leave that to the comics. I don't want to see that on film, because then we're going to get to Batman versus this, Batman versus that.
Can I,
like the
can I
comic books
pitch
have done.
one? Can
Too
I
much.
pitch one scene for your movie, real quick?
Can I pitch one from yours afterwards?
Absolutely.
Great.
I'll pitch one from both of you.
So Alien facehugger bursts out of the chest. It's
Yeah.
awful. Everyone's crying,
Yeah.
and then the Man in Black's like, don't just forget that. Boop. And they all have to forget.
With the
seeing
noisy cricket thing? Oh, with the neuralizer
yeah,
thing?
the neuralizer.
That's
Funny.
a cheap shot. I wanted that scene to be funnier. My scene would be much funnier in my movie.
Isn't it funnier? Is it
good.
funny if
That's
like
good.
it's just
Hello, my mom. Hello, my
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, here I'll pitch a scene from your movie. Batman. These aliens are unstoppable. No matter what we do, nobody can stop them. Thankfully for me, I've got an anti-alien spray right here in my belt. Fun. I beat it. End of movie.
Yeah, dude.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you both
had
you
fun.
both completely
Where's all the
undercut
fun
each
that-
other's
You
stuff.
sprayed
I
fun
don't
into
need
the
to say
theater.
It's very fun.
I don't need to say anything.
All right, Joe. Anything to add there?
Well, for anti-spray is from the Adam West Batman, not the elderly Michael Keaton Batman. Twitter wants Hector to know he missed a shot. The Will Smith song at the end of the Men in Black crossover would be
Yeah.
a strong selling point.
Totally.
Batman's
Yeah,
met
that's true.
Predator in '91 in the DC Dark Horse crossover. There was that famous Batman fan film called Dead End.
Yep.
Yeah, which was awesome.
There is online a Men in Black Alien fanfic, which I tried to click on it. It was blocked by our company firewall.
As well it should be.
Twitter is, by the way...
Don't tell me the poll results. Don't.
Oh, got
don't
it.
Tell me afterwards. I don't
Okay.
want to taint my views.
Okay, Twitter also loves Tremors, Deadpool, Battle Royale.
Tremors.
And where is it? At Dave Wilson 94 says Watership Down versus Alien.
There you go. I think the Deadpool one is sort of a vote for me, because it's kind of the same character.
Batman's
it's the
nowhere
same
near as
character.
funny as
Based-
Deadpool. Batman is not as
Batman
funny
don't
as
make
Deadpool.
All right. Based on the arguments, I have Ridley in her suit here for the
Hey-o.
winner.
Cool.
It came down to John. John gets the point for me. You get to have this the rest of
Yay.
the show. I just thought, yeah, you guys went fun, but it was almost too much fun. You had some good
There's no
points
such thing as too much fun.
as to why this actually might be a cool, more tonally what we want our aliens to be versus the Alien versus Predators that we complain about. So
Great job, John.
A lot of
Great
good
pitch.
points.
Yeah, I think
and
actually
liked
it was a really cool
It was
idea.
a cool
Great
idea.
pitch.
So a lot of good stuff you said, John.
Thank you.
You're both in this. So that means we're going into round 5. Conveniently, everyone's gonna say I did this on purpose. I didn't. I didn't. But Jeff, you are automatically in the finals.
Yeah,
you
baby.
get
Way
to
to go,
take the speed
Jeff.
round.
Yeah.
But
Good job.
Hector
Thank
and
you so
John,
much.
you
Thank
each
you.
got a point on the board. So
Sweet.
One of you needs to win this point. If Jeff takes the point, then we'll have to do a tiebreaker, and you guys will be deep low in the score.
Don't worry, guys. I'll be terrible.
Yeah.
But last question here of the fight before we get to speed round comes in from Meredith Loftus, who asks us, this is a fun one, what movie would make for the best series of novels? So if we could turn a movie into a series of nice, fun novels to read, what we want to see. And this time we're with you, Jeff. You're up first.
I went with Cloverfield. I think that the thing that's become most interesting to me about the Cloverfield franchise, if you want to call it that, is that it has now become anthology films, right? These are different stories that all take place in a shared universe that are all about an alien invasion, but it's not the kind of alien invasion story we typically get. I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane, I mean, I'm biased because one of my best friends directed it, but I thought it is.
It's really good.
You didn't like it?
It did. It's a cheap plug.
He was
though.
saying boo for the cheap plug. But 10 Cloverfield, you tell Dan
I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to be honest.
It's really good.
I love that movie, but I also love what it means for that franchise. And I would love to see that universe just explode with more stories that take place within it. I'd love to see novels that don't tell me the story from Cloverfield. Don't tell me the story from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Tell me new stories that all share the same kinds of themes, which is average people in this extraordinary situation of a alien invasion. And I think there's so much to be mined there. There's so many different kinds of stories. Like if we had, it's kind of like writing stories about where you were on 9/11 or something. It's this major event. Like there's bound to be people doing wildly different things. And as we saw with 10 Cloverfield Lane, some of these things like you wouldn't expect to have happen on the day that the aliens come. And I think reading about that and seeing all those different kinds of stories would make for a really interesting series of novels.
Great, Hector, go ahead.
I went with, I think, what is a little bit more of a sure thing. I'm not a huge reader. I read kind of different things. I'm more of a comic book guy. But one thing I do know is that a book genre that will always be popular is the spy genre. People, I think, buy spy books at the airport and then read them on the plane. And for me, a spy franchise that I want to see even more and more and more of, thankfully, is the Mission Impossible film franchise. Turn this into a series of novels based on the world that, especially the last 3 movies, I wish you picked Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation instead of the first movie. The last 3 movies have been so solid since
How
J.J.
realistic
Abrams.
that book looks, though.
So good.
So
I would
real.
read that.
It's a long
Since
book.
J.J.
Photoshop.
Abrams came into 2006's Mission Impossible 3 and has been a producer ever since, I think that the world is so smartly about the team at the IMF as well as being about the superhero Ethan Hunt, who's a great character. I want to see a series of novels that are smaller scale, not this big sort of world-ending, huge explosions, Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise running and doing stunts, but like other things that this organization, the IMF, the Impossible Mission Force, does around the world and how they tie into maybe real-world events. The IMF has been around since the 60s, apparently. There's a whole mythology there. You can go back and tie in the show, the TV show, the original, the fans of the original show that love. Leonard Nimoy was on the show. So there's so many great things to add, but it'll be different than James Bond, and it'll be different than Bourne, and it'll be different than all these other spy movies for a bunch of different reasons. You can do the sort of exploration of the Ethan Hunt character, who I love as a film character. He's a superhero. He's awesome. But we've only know a little bit about his background. We know that, like, by the time we got to Mission Impossible 3 from 1 and 2, his parents were dead. All these different things about Ethan Hunt, how he got to be where he is. But all these other characters in the world that haven't been explored yet. Members of the team, like Maggie Q from MI3, like, she hasn't been in a movie since the 3rd one. Each of these movies have rotating teams of great, capable spies, and sometimes they make mistakes, and sometimes whatever. The heads of the IMF. Anthony Hopkins was the director of the IMF in Mission Impossible 2. Lawrence Fishburne in Part 3. Alec Baldwin's a great character that they just introduced in Rogue Nation, working from the CIA. Now he's going to go to the IMF. I think that there's so many great characters and opportunities to world build in the sort of spy genre and do fun, cool things that we don't necessarily need to see in a movie or would want to see in a movie, and then save the big adventures that happen every few years for the movie. You can tie things together. What was the rabbit's foot in Mission Impossible 3? Like, how did Lawrence Fishburne step down and somebody else come up? There's so many different things. I have so many ideas, Andy. You got to cut me off.
What's your thing? What's your book?
All right, mine is the Mad Max Chronicles. All right, there's so much to explore here in this world that George Miller created back in the late 70s with Max and his V8 Pursuit special. There's so many great characters that get exposed to. That's awesome choice. I love that cover.
Yeah.
There's so many great characters that we are introduced to throughout all the 4 movies, and so many great environments. Right, we have the Toe Cutter, the Knight Rider, Goose, Max, just from the first one. Then we go to the second one. We have all these other characters: Lord Humongous, Wes, the Feral Kid. The gyrocopter, the Bruce Spence, who plays it in both first movies. Then you have Thunderdome, and you have Master Blaster, and you have Tina Turner's character. You have Bartertown. So there's all these great, very rich environments that are created by George Miller, who creates these films. And now you put them in a novel form. And the novel form, you can explore them even more. You can really understand how these characters came to where they came to. You can understand what the beginning was. You can take elements of what you both presented in your stories, like the idea of no, I'm not trying to undercut at all. The idea that you were talking about, the idea of of regular people in extraordinary situations. Same thing. Apocalypse brings that out. And an apocalypse brings that out. A post-apocalyptic world. You go, how do you survive? What happens? I mean, if you remember in the first Mad Max, there still has some semblance of civilization there, and then it progresses to where it doesn't. And we see that in Road Warrior. We see that in the third one. I'm sorry, Thunderdome, and we see that in obviously with Fury Road. And Imperator Furiosa, great character. Once again, how did she lose her arm? How did she get to be in Immortan Joe's employ or slavery situation, whatever she is in that. So there's so much to explore here. Even in Thunderdome, we have the kids. They crashed on a 747 and had to create their own tribe. Like, how did that happen? What happened? What happened after Thunderdome? There's so much to explore with these movies and so many stories to go into. And what you're talking about, little characters, we can go small with Thunderdome. You could even do a whole book where the dog is the main character, going through the eyes of the dog, all those kinds of things, of course.
Max's dog.
All right, here's what I want. I believe all three of you are excellent. I don't need you to keep defending why yours are great. Why are the other ones not great?
Can I go first?
Yes. Sure.
Here's the thing about Mad Max. I love Mad Max, but the less explained about that world, the better. I see it as something that is not mythology and rules heavy. George Miller doesn't care about that stuff. He bends and breaks some of his own rules because he cares more about story and spectacle, and it's all visual. And the more you start explaining, well, where did Toe Cutter come from, and where did Immortan Joe, and where, Furiosa, all that stuff. And wait, Mad Max in Fury Road, is he the same Max as in Thunderdome and before? Because it's kind of is it Feral Kid grown up because he's still got the little toy? Is it? I don't want those threads connected because that's not important to George Miller, and I think that takes away from some of the specialness and mystery of the Mad Max series. Even though I'm not saying like I don't want to see more of that world and just to reserve it to film, I don't necessarily think that should apply to both of your guys' pitches. Like, I'm not saying it should only be movies. I just want to see spectacle. I would be fine with reading like a Mad Max thing, but I'm saying you explain more about that world. I'm not interested in it. It kind of tends to break things apart. It's like, wait, how much time passed since the nuclear Holocaust? Like, how much time exactly? Where are they in exactly? Australia? Because we saw Sydney in Thunderdome. It's like, well, where were the rest of the people in the world? Like, the more you explain about that, the more it doesn't make sense, and it kind of breaks the world and makes it so that it's unbelievable. And I want to keep it just that sort of mysterious thing that kind of doesn't make sense if you think too much about it, and just leave it the way it is. And as far as Cloverfield, the thing I keep going to that is the mystery. You got to keep that intact. The more explained about each of those two worlds, whether it's Cloverfield with the thing coming out of the ocean, the giant kaiju, or 10 Cloverfield Lane where it's an alien invasion. Spoiler alert. And there's various humans, reacting to it.
It doesn't work. You can't say it after you say it.
Whatever. Bruce Willis was dead. Spoiler alert. It's the same thing. You can do that. You can do it after the fact. I feel like the more you explain about those worlds, the more it takes away from some of the believability and mystery and what the characters in those stories do. And I also believe that Cloverfield, I love it as a Twilight Zone style movie anthology, and it's great for getting directors, to just shoot off. Man, Matt Reeves came from the first Cloverfield, and he did an awesome job. Dan Trachtenberg knocked out of the park. I think 10 Cloverfield Lane's even better than the original Cloverfield.
I agree with that.
And what I would hate to have happen is for a guy like Dan or Matt to go and pitch this story to Bad Robot, and they're like, "That's great. We're going to make it a book." It's like these movies specifically exist as like filmmaker tryouts. Like, it's a lower budget, do your thing, knock it out of the park. We're barely going to tell anybody about it, and it's going to come out and it's going to blow everybody away.
Jeff.
Okay.
Here's the difference between, I think, my pitch and both of your pitches is, you kind of touched on this a little bit. While I would read those books, and I think those are really exciting, the things I like about those franchises is the kinetic, the action sequences, the big set piece moments that I get to see acted out on the big screen, that the action is what I'm signed up for. I want to see how the IMF takes down that situation. I want to see Tom Cruise doing some crazy stunt on a thing. I want to see how George Miller shoots these incredible chases and sequences. But with Cloverfield, these are much more internal struggles, right? And the thing that a novel gives you is a much richer internal life with characters. To be inside their head and hear about the things that are going in their inner monologue, I think reveals a window that is actually more appropriate to that property, because these are smaller things, because we don't need to know more about the alien invasion. All we need to know is what the situation is that they're in while that's happening. We don't need to find out the details of how that invasion is happening. We can still have that mystery. It's more about those individual personal struggles that I think really would work well as a novel.
All right. My thing is this. Yours has been done already many, many times. There are many super spies, there are many super groups, all those kinds of things. So it's there's nothing new.
It's a working
There's
formula.
nothing
Thank
new.
you.
It's boring. Actually.
Working formula.
No, it's
Great.
actually kind of boring, and it's
Disagree.
because we've seen it already. I hope you disagree. We've seen it already so many different times. We've seen all those James Bond spy novels. We've seen all those things. So there's nothing new here. There's absolutely nothing new here, and I disagree with you completely. I think, and maybe I'm speaking for your inability to vision things when you read them, but like when I read stuff and I can create my own mind. I don't need to have necessarily George Miller create something for me on screen for me to get what he's talking about. So in my novels, I think he would show. Well, you were saying you'd rather see them visually.
That's a big difference between not able to.
Right, I know. I'm just busting your balls. I'm just giving you shit. But my thing is that I really enjoy reading these kinds of novels that explore this. Post-apocalyptic novels are really rare, and when you got to have the right characters and the right combination. I think Mad Max is the one to do it with. And this whole idea, I'm sorry you have an issue with like getting deeper into this. I think that's a great thing to explore. To explore what caused them to feel this way, how they changed. Just like we see in Walking Dead every week, which you host things about.
Yeah.
We see a post-apocalyptic world in essence because it's a zombie thing. Creating tribes. They have to figure out how to function and survive. I didn't cut you off once. They had to function, how to survive. They had to figure out all these kinds of things. And that's what's fascinating to watch here. I think Max is a great lead character to follow us through. Yeah, maybe it is the feral kid in Fear by the time we get to Fury Road. But that gives us all those adventures between when he's a feral kid and when he gets to Fury Road to explore and all these characters to explore. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about the Mad Max thing. With Cloverfield, you're right. These are smaller stories. They're fine to be little paper things. That's great. I mean, it's something you could read on the subway or Entertainment Weekly. You see when you're taking a crap. It's quick stuff. But I'm talking about something with Mad Max is deeper. It's more richer. There's more characters. There's more environments to explore. There's more reasons to explore. And we can go to multiple locations. It doesn't just have to be Australia or Sydney. This is post-apocalyptic world.
Coming out strong against paper and books.
We can go into other countries, other situations, other maxes, kind of maxes that'll get us into. So you can create subsets of subsets of subsets within the novels themselves, and you can create series of novels within the Mad Max overall umbrella. And I think that's what I think is fantastic about using the Mad Max as a novel.
I just think that it would be a challenge to come up with enough synonyms for dirt.
Yeah, it'd be tough. That'd be tough to write that. Yeah. Tough. Yeah, it's hard.
This one is legitimately hard. That was a really strong fight from all three of you. Joe, anything over there?
I mean, mostly just a lot of opinions. Dan Trachtenberg co-hosted the Totally Rad Show with Jeff. We can surmise that they are good friends.
I just should hope so.
Julia Estes on Twitter suggested The Mummy. I kind of like that. The other folks, the other things on Twitter being suggested are Indiana Jones and Debbie Does Dallas is getting a lot of love.
Debbie Does, wow.
Probably the same Ariel
How
people
old is that
from
guy?
earlier. Not old.
I love the idea.
Possibly not
I love
old.
the idea of more Debbie Does Dallas books, but they're all in Dallas.
Yeah,
like she doesn't do anything but Dallas, but it's just fleshing it
Could have
out.
gone to so many other
to speak.
cities.
Just opens the phone book like I'll start here.
Yeah.
And then this novel
Everyone
will get
inside
here.
Dallas.
A to Z.
Also looking at thesaurus.com, quick count right here. There are at least 15 synonyms for dirt.
Hell,
15. That's not enough.
15 Chronicles.
At
least.
15-page book. It's done.
And
Get
do you want the Twitter poll?
Not yet. What was the last one, though? You remind me, because we didn't pick it up at the end. Tell me after the round.
Oh, okay, I will.
But for both, because I remember we didn't do four. All right. Man.
That was tough.
This is really tough, because actually I think you picked all three of you picked. These could be fantastic books.
I would read all three of these.
There's a lot of good stuff in all three of these. So I'm just trying to what I listen and I was hung up on. One of you had a fantastic just follow up that I thought was just really hitting, and then the other two were strong but not as much. But it came down to Hector.
What?
Who just really had
I don't
hit
get
the
the point.
visuals
No.
down and hit how much more important and how less explained is the better in some of these worlds. So those arguments really still stuck with me based on everything else, and then the other combats weren't as strong. So for that final little ditch it, and I really liked your argument about the director thing for him of like, wow, then they're gonna start putting it's a director farm, but now they're gonna do books. So those were really strong arguments that it just shocked me and were surprising. So Hector gets the point.
Wow.
Hector goes to the end. It was very close between you two.
So close.
But it also the fact you said the threads would be weirdly connected with all the people. It was strong. It was very close though, and honestly, I personally really would actually prefer to read the Cloverfield one. But based on the arguments, I think Hector really slayed it there at the end. So kudos, but kudos to all three of you. That was a tough fight.
Yeah.
You all brought it, and I thank you all, John. Thank you, and
have
you're now
bruises
you have to
from
help me
this
do
fight.
this.
Sure.
He's not pissed.
Sacrificial lamb all the time.
You won.
Once.
I've never won. That was
I
me
win all the
last
time on TV fights.
Yeah, I've never won that either. I've never won a single thing. Jeff's never even been here before.
I don't even know what's happening.
I love Rocha.
Andy is a puzzle I need to figure out every time I come on this show.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it after the fight.
Wait, so what were the Twitter poll things?
Yeah, so who won that role quickly?
So in our novelizations, Mad Max narrowly edged out Cloverfield.
Wow.
And in our
you.
Alien crossover, Men in Black ran away with it.
Yay! Wow. All right, so I'm not too much of an idiot. Okay, great.
All right, we're moving into the speed round, guys. Now, Jeff,
Speed round.
this is how the speed round works. You're each going to have 15 seconds, and you'll have them 5-second rebuttals. You know what? I'm changing it up, guys.
Ooh.
Someone tweeted this to me, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to include 20 seconds
Nice.
and 10 seconds.
Whoa.
I'm just going to spend 5 seconds
I'm going to speed up the speed
staring
round.
at
Someone
you.
suggested I want to try here, because sometimes you don't really get to get enough out.
Yeah.
All right, you guys okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Joe,
don't
can
have
you
anything to
adjust for me
compare
on
it to.
that?
Adjust it.
20 and 10. We're going to try it. I forget who tweeted at me, but I read the tweets. I want to see if this is more fun.
Up is down,
If it
left
doesn't
is
work, we'll
right.
go back.
Cats
So
and
we're going,
dogs.
you're going to have
Living
20
together.
seconds to make your argument.
Wow.
All right.
And then
That's a
you
lot
will
of
have a
seconds.
10-second rebuttal where you'll be able to make your final argument. So get everything out here of why this matters. You don't have to use all your time, or you can. You'll hear the ding.
The Rock. The
Now,
Rock's
Jeff,
the best.
If you
Started
both
yet?
say the same answer at the same time,
Yes.
it's whoever said it first will be listening to whoever said it first, and then you'll have to take the other one.
Okay, so we're
If it's
looking at the
indecipherable,
screen
we have a couple tiebreakers that we can use. You're gonna look at the screen for this first question.
Yes.
Again, you'll have 20 seconds and 10 seconds. Are you guys ready for the speed round?
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably
All right.
not.
I love these bargain bin pictures. This one is you'll see in a second. This one's submitted by Mike Pisacano. If you guys are at the store and you want to see a bargain bin, you want to put two movies together and ask us which one we should buy, this is what we do here. All right. First up from Mike. Here we go. Which of these do you want to buy?
RoboCop.
Jupiter Ascending.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, you both picked
That's
different
good.
ones.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hector, oh my God.
Who goes first?
Hold on. I heard RoboCop first.
Okay.
RoboCop.
Hold on. Wait, sorry.
Sorry.
Let me write down. So we're all ready. RoboCop and Jupiter Ascending. The time starts when you start talking.
RoboCop is awesome. This is one of those rare reboots that actually did service to the first movie and was good. I mean, it's not a great movie. Neither of these are great movies. But I would rather watch I'd rather watch the original RoboCop. Be honest
Yep.
with you. But this RoboCop is pretty good, and the special effects aren't bad. Jupiter Ascending is legitimately terrible.
I would rather go with super unwatchably fun bad than just a bad movie. I haven't seen either of them. So the reason I picked Jupiter Ascending is because I'm freaking curious about how bad
man.
Jupiter Ascending really is. It's the Wachowskis. I trust them visually. There's some really great ideas in there that the trailers reminded me of one of my favorite comic book series of all time, Saga. And I just heard that RoboCop, as much as I love the original, was just a dud. I'm like, I don't want to see a remake. I want to see a new
all right.
thing.
Hold on. Last 10 seconds. So take your last stand. Whenever you start, we'll time the clock.
My rebuttal starts now. I want to be completely honest with you. When I first saw it, I thought it was the original RoboCop up there. But Jupiter Ascending is a genuinely awful movie.
Can't wait to watch it because I'm going to get drunk and have a good time at how stupid bad it is. I still love the Wachowskis. I love Speed Racer. I love the first Matrix and parts of Matrix Reloaded. But I don't want to watch just a bad movie. I want to watch something that hits new levels of entertaining bad.
All right. Good one. John, you were listening.
It's
to
not,
some arguments.
it's not fair that they didn't change the logo for RoboCop.
In his defense.
At least you did pick up on it.
It's the same cover. It's the same. Come on.
You can tell. John, what do you think based on those arguments?
Was it the remake or was it not?
It was the remake.
Okay, the remake. That's fine. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. There's something about Hector's argument that worked for me. The idea that he's leaning into how terrible it is,
Oh, yeah.
and he's willing to make a whole evening out of it, versus Jeff's argument where he's going to watch it even though he knows it's not that good.
But this is purchasing.
What happened?
Joe on the
To
couch,
own
do you
forever.
agree?
You know, I like Jupiter because it's just batshit insane.
It really
but
is.
Hector was really the only one actually throwing arguments out. So just on that note,
I can't disagree with both of them, but hey, you got a tester. It's not, you're only one down. You still got a shot here. But Hector got that point.
Fair enough.
Here we go. You know what? Let's do another bargain bin, shall we?
Okay.
All right. This one's going to come in from Vince Jovanovic.
I'm going to look closely, make sure it's not a remake
Vince
of a movie I like.
Jovanovic. You're going to see two movies. Now make sure you see which one it is, and the first one who says it gets it. Here we go.
Jupiter 2.
So by default.
Look at his face after saying it.
Wow. Paul Blart too. That's what we got.
That's what I got, baby.
You got
go
Paul
first?
Blart 2. Hold on.
I just got
Jeff?
blarted.
Totally
Blart.
blurted.
Paul Blart 2 versus Joe Dirt 2. Which one should we buy? Hector, you're up first.
Guys, I haven't seen either again because they look like such terrible movies. But of the originals, Paul Blart 1 and Joe Dirt 1, I like Joe Dirt 1. I think it's funny. I think it's got really funny moments. I think it's David Spade's best, like, comedic starring in movie Sandler, Happy Madison thing. That I'm curious about Joe Dirt 2. I know how it was made. It wasn't like a regularly theatrical thing. They had to go about different ways to do it. And Paul Blart 2 looks awful.
Jeff, all right. When time starts, when you start.
I have some friends, the McElroys, and they do a podcast called Till Death Do Us Blart, where they watch Paul Blart once a year until they die, and when they die, they have people that will take over for them. So someone will be watching Paul Blart forever. You, if you purchase Paul Blart 2, can descend into madness along with them, and you should.
Well, the reason they're descending into madness is because they watch it all the time. Joe Dirt 2 is the only movie that of the two I'm actually curious and interested about some of those characters. Like, I actually kind of care about Joe Dirt and some of the original jokes in the first one.
Jeff, go ahead.
I've never seen either of the Joe Dirts. They're probably as stupid as a Blart movie, but Blart, you can guarantee he'll fall down, and I'm just
Can't guarantee they'll fall down. Joe, I know you're on the clock, but based on those arguments, what did you like?
I mean, we live in a participation sort of audience world. I like that podcast argument.
John.
I do not like that podcast at all. It was a shameless plug, and I respect it. But
I have nothing to do with it, and gain nothing from it.
Yeah, but I think Hector made some great points because he has an actual love for Joe Dirt, and just by my own friend Josh Heinsohn cast Joe Dirt too. So I have a little thing with it. But you made great arguments about it, so I would go with Hector.
Sounds like you're making a shameless plug there too.
True. I'm only jealous of the things I see other people doing.
Based on the arguments, it was tough. But yeah, if I had a little bit more from Jeff, you were close. It was creative, close. But I think Hector's got a few more little jabs in there. So we're
He's
there.
got experience with this.
He does.
Yeah.
All right. So Hector, if you win this, you take the game, I believe, right?
Oh my gosh, this
crazy?
has never happened in my life.
Yes.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
They were tied. Now he's 2 up. So if you take this, it's over.
But can I say one thing?
Sure, John.
Take your nose out of a comic book and go see terrible movies, for God's sakes.
Okay.
There's stuff to see.
I love to see terrible movies.
Right.
And I
Some
really
hate
like
from John
Carter,
even though
and
he's giving you
Speed
the point
Racer.
both times.
Yeah.
It's tough love. It's Latino. It's tough
It's
love.
cool.
He
Yeah, it's
understands
tough
it.
love.
He gets it.
I get it.
All right. One more bargain bin, shall we?
God, man. Seriously?
You're winning these. What are you complaining about?
Is this an all bargain bin speed round?
They're so stressful.
Here we go. This comes from Movie Read Views. You're going to get 2 movies, and I would suggest you might want to look at them to remember which one's which. Here we go.
Bounty Hunter. No, they're the same thing. They're the
They
same
are the
movie.
same movie.
Oh my God.
There's no difference between those
I got
movies.
it. I got
Those
it.
are the same movie.
I got this one.
They're the same movie.
Bounty Hunter.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That was a good one, guys. That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right. We got Ugly Truth for Jeff.
Yes.
With Katherine Heigl, and Bounty Hunter for Hector with Jennifer Aniston. Both have Gerard Butler.
Damn it.
Yes.
You win with Aniston already. You've already won.
Well, careful.
Wow, are you conceding the point?
That was
All
already
right,
my.
I
That
heard
was
Bounty
already
Hunter
my.
first. Here we go. You got 20 seconds to think there, Jeff. 20
Here we
seconds.
go. I really like Gerard Butler. I like most of the movies that he's in, but between the 2 co-leads, I was already going with there. Between Katherine Heigl and Jennifer Aniston, I really do like Jennifer Aniston. I think she's a much better actor, and I think she's likable, and I think that I've got a history with her. I love her from Friends. So of the 2 sort of, and I remember the premise for The Bounty Hunter seemed more interesting than The Ugly Truth, which I honestly don't even remember the premise. Even from looking at the cover, I don't even remember what that movie's about.
All right, Jeff, you got 20 seconds here. It's on the line.
Everything I know about those movies was on that screen right there. So The Ugly Truth's title is much better than Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter could be about anything. Is it a guy with long blonde hair and a beard? Is he bounty hunting? I don't know. But Ugly Truth, I got nothing, guys. Both these movies
Jeff,
are
step
fair.
up, damn it. 10 seconds.
Here's another thing I love about movies: handcuffs. I love when handcuffs are in movies. And in that cover, Gerard Butler was handcuffed to Jennifer Aniston, which means comedy hijinks ensue. I'm in. Sign me up. I'm gonna get drunk. Good time.
10 seconds, Jeff.
I would like to say that the guy who made the poster of those movies is probably the same guy, and he phoned it in, and he should be fired from his job.
Let's see him again. Wow.
Wow.
Now the things you missed. Look, Gerard
Which one
Butler's
cost
Got a
more?
heart over his balls.
He's got a heart over his balls, Jeff.
That's great stuff, Jeff.
that was
Maybe
something
you guys
missed.
should leave that up on the screen, so I have anything to work with.
That's fair.
So I have anything to work with.
That's
at all.
fair.
He flashes it on the screen, it goes away, and all I've got. Honestly, if you hadn't repeated the title, I wouldn't even know that.
I was trying to help you both because I think that was tough. I knew none of us had seen either of those movies.
I've seen them both.
Sadly, he
I've seen
did
them both.
throw in the towel a little bit.
I did,
midway.
yeah. No,
Hector, that
believe
means you
me.
get the point. Game.
Wow.
Well
That's
done.
amazing.
We had 2 more bargain bins.
Skunked
We'll
me.
save them for another show.
Oh, damn.
But Hector, you won.
That's amazing, man.
Guys,
Well done.
guys, I loved it. Let's talk this over some more after the fight. You guys will be able to call in if you're watching Screen Junkies Plus. But let's wrap this up. I'm so excited that you guys did a fantastic one. John Rocha at the Rocha Says
Yes,
on Twitter.
Rocha
Anything else you'd
Says.
like to plug?
Yeah, just the Jedi Alliance over there on Popcorn Talking Network. And please listen to us on the Top 10 show. We count down top 10 movies every week about a certain theme, certain subject, something that's coming out that week. We're on the Collider Schmoes Know Podcast Network, me and Matt Nost. Very funny stuff.
What is it this week? What are the top 10?
Top 10 TV comedy stars that became movie stars because of Key and Peele's
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell's
Steve
on the
Carell,
list.
Tom Hanks. Does that
Yeah.
count? Those are
Yeah.
buddies?
Bruce
Carrey.
Willis,
Michael J.
Will
Fox.
Smith,
Jim
Will
Carrey.
Smith.
Jennifer Aniston.
Michael J.
How
Fox,
come you don't
right?
want me,
Yeah,
Uncle
Michael
Phil?
J. Fox. He's
How
an
come
honorable
you don't
mention.
want me, Uncle Phil?
Jeff Cannata,
Sally Field.
you were so great this episode.
thanks,
Thank you
guys.
for
So
coming.
fun.
Jeff Cannata, anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, I have so many things I could plug. I will just say you can listen to me talk about movies at the Slash Filmcast. I also do a comedy show, which is only 20 minutes long. It's an audio podcast. I think you'll dig it. It's at wehaveconcerns.com.
WeHaveConcerns.com. Check it out, and thank you for
time.
coming. I hope you come
Awesome.
back. Hector Navarro at Hector is Funny.
These guys do good stuff. I'm a fan of both of these guys. It's great. The Slash Filmcast, it's great.
This is very great.
I just want to plug. You can see me on Superhero News, youtube.com/superhero news. Me and my homies do a bunch of fun stuff there. But also check out our new YouTube show. Me and my roommate Latina Marina Mastros are doing. You may know her from Knocking Dead. We're watching Fear the Walking Dead, and it's super fun. We're gonna have guests and just come on and talk crap about that very bad show. Unfortunately, that's on playback on YouTube. So search for Fear the Knocking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead, and I tweet it out and stuff.
And I'm sure we'll have you back for Knocking Dead next
Yeah.
season if you're
It'll be
willing.
fun.
I gotta
Excited.
get on that show.
Yeah, man, you
Yes,
gotta come.
we gotta try.
I hate watch that show every week.
Yeah.
On the
Come
couch.
come
Good job, Joe Star.
Yo.
Always a
work.
pleasure, Andy. Thank you, sir.
Anything you'd like to plug, Joe? Joey Star in France.
Hey, go buy a funny book from DevastatorPress.com.
Yeah,
Cool.
Okay, great.
I like it.
Thank you at home, everybody at home. We'll be back next week with drunken movie fights. That's
Oh.
right. We're gonna be getting drunk next week. I'm gonna be
Missed
getting
that.
drunk.
Missed
A
it
lot
by
of
a
people
week.
getting drunk.
Damn.
I know at least Dan Murrell's getting drunk.
Hey-o.
Still lining up some more, but it's going to be very messy. We're definitely Ubering into this episode. We'll be pre-drinking prior to the episode.
Oh my God.
But tell us who you want to make sure you see on Drunk Movie Fights, and we'll try and do it. But thank you so much, everybody, as always. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.